For generations, America's biggest cities represented success. New York symbolized ambition. Los Angeles represented opportunity and entertainment. San Francisco became the capital of technology. Chicago stood for business and industry. Young Americans moved to major cities because that's where the jobs, culture, nightlife, and excitement were. Living in a big city once felt like a rite of passage into adulthood. But something dramatic is happening now. More and more young Americans are leaving big cities behind. Some are moving to suburbs. Others are relocating to smaller cities or entirely different states. Many are abandoning expensive urban centers that once attracted millions of ambitious young professionals. In some cases, people are leaving after only a few years. In others, they never moved to major cities at all. And this shift could completely reshape the future of America. So why is this happening? Why are younger generations turning away from places that once defined opportunity and success? And what happens if this trend continues for decades? The answer starts with one word: affordability. For many young Americans, life in major cities has simply become too expensive to sustain. In cities like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, and Seattle, housing costs have reached levels that previous generations could barely imagine. Rent for a tiny apartment can easily consume half of someone's income, sometimes even more. Buying a home feels impossible for millions of young workers. A generation ago, people accepted expensive city life because wages often justified the cost. High-paying jobs and career opportunities made the sacrifice worth it. But today, many young adults feel like they are working constantly just to survive. Some college graduates earn decent salaries on paper while still struggling to save money after paying rent, transportation, food, healthcare, and student loans. The dream of building wealth, owning property, or starting a family feels increasingly out of reach in many large cities. And social media has made the comparison even worse. Young Americans constantly see others living in larger homes, paying lower costs, and enjoying better lifestyles in smaller cities or suburban areas. Someone living in a cramped apartment in San Francisco may watch friends buy houses in Texas, Tennessee, or North Carolina for less than the price of a down payment in California. Over time, the math becomes difficult to ignore. Then the pandemic changed everything. Before 2020, millions of workers stayed in major cities because they needed to live near offices. Companies expected employees to commute daily. Urban centers thrived because businesses clustered together physically. But remote work shattered that system almost overnight. Suddenly, millions of young professionals realized they could work from almost anywhere. If someone could keep the same salary while living somewhere cheaper, why stay in an expensive city? This triggered one of the largest migration shifts in modern American history. Workers began leaving cities like New York and San Francisco in huge numbers. Some relocated to nearby suburbs. Others moved across the country entirely. Austin, Nashville, Tampa, Phoenix, Charlotte, and dozens of smaller cities experienced major population growth as remote workers searched for affordability and space. And once people left, many realized they didn't want to go back. For years, big cities justified their high costs through convenience, nightlife, networking opportunities, and cultural experiences. But remote work weakened many of those advantages. If people no longer needed to commute daily, the value of paying massive urban rents suddenly became less obvious. At the same time, quality of life concerns started growing. Traffic congestion, crowded public transportation, noise, crime concerns, homelessness, and rising living costs made city life feel increasingly stressful for many young residents. Some felt burned out by the constant pressure and pace of urban environments. Younger generations are also redefining what success means. For decades, ambition was closely tied to major cities. Moving to New York or Los Angeles symbolized achievement. But today, many young Americans prioritize flexibility, mental health, work-life balance, and financial stability more than previous generations did. Instead of chasing prestige through location, many now focus on lifestyle. A smaller city with affordable housing, shorter commutes, outdoor access, and lower stress may seem far more attractive than a glamorous but financially exhausting urban center. This mindset shift is changing migration patterns across the country. Cities like Austin, Raleigh, Boise, Salt Lake City, Nashville, and Tampa became especially attractive because they offer some combination of economic opportunity and improved quality of life. Young workers can often rent larger apartments, save money, and enjoy more space while still accessing strong job markets. Some younger Americans are skipping big cities entirely. In the past, ambitious graduates often felt they had no choice but to move to places like New York, Chicago, or San Francisco to build careers. But technology changed that. Today, startups, remote companies, and digital industries exist almost everywhere. Someone can build a successful career in technology, marketing, media, design, finance, or entrepreneurship without ever living in a traditional superstar city. Artificial intelligence and automation may accelerate this even further. As more work becomes digital, physical location may matter less and less. Future generations may view the idea of relocating to an expensive city office the same way modern workers view factory towns from the industrial era, as an outdated economic structure built for another time. There's also a deeper psychological shift happening. Many young Americans watched previous generations sacrifice enormous amounts of time, energy, and money for careers centered around city life. But after witnessing burnout, layoffs, economic instability, and housing crises, some younger workers are questioning whether the trade-off is worth it. The old promise was simple: move to the city, work hard, and eventually achieve financial success. But for many young adults today, that promise no longer feels guaranteed. Even highly educated workers often struggle with debt, rising costs, and economic uncertainty. Some feel trapped in endless cycles of rent payments without building long-term security. As a result, many are choosing a different path entirely. Suburban living is becoming attractive again for younger generations, especially as suburbs themselves evolve. Modern suburbs increasingly include walkable developments, restaurants, entertainment districts, co-working spaces, and mixed-use communities designed to appeal to younger residents. The line between cities and suburbs is starting to blur. Meanwhile, smaller cities are investing heavily to attract remote workers and businesses. Places once considered secondary markets are becoming major economic hubs. Cities like Greenville, Chattanooga, Boise, and Madison are gaining national attention because they combine affordability with growing economies and higher quality of life. But not everyone is leaving cities permanently. Some experts believe the current migration patterns are temporary adjustments, tied to housing costs and remote work trends. Major cities still offer powerful advantages that smaller markets struggle to replicate. New York remains one of the world's financial and cultural capitals. Los Angeles dominates entertainment. San Francisco continues shaping technology and venture capital. Chicago remains a major transportation and business center. Large cities still attract enormous talent, investment, universities, and global industries. The problem is that many young Americans increasingly feel locked out of fully participating in those opportunities because of cost. This creates a dangerous long-term challenge for cities themselves. If younger workers continue leaving, major cities may face economic and demographic consequences. Cities depend heavily on educated young populations to drive innovation, consumption, and tax revenue. If too many residents relocate elsewhere, urban economies could weaken over time. Some cities are already seeing warning signs. Office vacancy rates remain elevated in many downtown areas. Retail businesses struggle with reduced foot traffic. Public transportation systems face financial pressure as commuting patterns change. Some neighborhoods are experiencing population stagnation or decline. To adapt, cities may eventually need to rethink housing, zoning, transportation, and affordability entirely. There are also generational differences shaping this migration. Millennials and Gen Z entered adulthood during periods of economic instability, including the Great Recession, rising student debt, inflation, and housing shortages. Many developed a far more cautious attitude toward money and career choices than previous generations. Owning property, maintaining flexibility, and avoiding financial stress often feel more important than living in prestigious zip codes. Social life is changing too. Technology reduced some of the social advantages cities once held. Dating apps, social media, online communities, streaming entertainment, and remote communication mean people no longer rely on physical proximity the same way previous generations did. In the past, cities concentrated social and professional networks physically. Today, digital platforms allow people to build communities from almost anywhere. This weakens one of the core historical reasons people moved to cities in the first place. At the same time, younger generations increasingly value experiences tied to nature, wellness, and personal freedom. Access to outdoor activities, larger living spaces, and calmer environments often matters more than proximity to dense urban nightlife. Ironically, some of the fastest-growing destinations today are places that once struggled to attract younger populations at all. Cities across Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Utah, and the Carolinas are now competing aggressively for young professionals. They offer lower taxes, cheaper housing, expanding job markets, and newer infrastructure compared to older coastal cities. And this competition may intensify in the future. As remote work technologies improve, smaller cities and suburbs may continue gaining advantages. Virtual reality offices, AI collaboration systems, and decentralized digital economies could make physical location even less important. But there's another side to this story too. Not all young Americans are leaving because they want to. Some are leaving because they feel forced out. Housing shortages and rising rents are pricing many people out of neighborhoods they love. Entire communities are becoming inaccessible to middle-class workers. Teachers, nurses, artists, service workers, and young professionals increasingly struggle to afford living in the very cities they help sustain. This creates a deeper question about the future of urban America. If only the wealthy can comfortably afford major cities, what happens to the diversity, creativity, and energy that made those cities attractive in the first place? The answer may determine the future of America's largest urban centers. Some cities may adapt successfully by building more housing, improving affordability, and embracing new work models. Others may continue losing residents to faster-growing regions with lower costs and more space. What's clear is that America's geography is changing. The traditional dominance of superstar cities is being challenged for the first time in decades. Technology, remote work, affordability pressures, and changing cultural values are reshaping where young Americans choose to live. The future may belong less to a handful of giant coastal cities, and more to networks of smaller, flexible, fast-growing regions, connected digitally across the country. And perhaps the biggest shift of all is psychological. For generations, moving to a major city symbolized reaching adulthood and pursuing ambition. But for many young Americans today, success no longer means surviving in an expensive apartment while working non-stop just to stay afloat. Success may now mean freedom. Freedom to own a home, freedom to save money, freedom to work remotely, freedom to spend more time with family, freedom to escape constant financial pressure. And that may be why so many young Americans are leaving big cities behind. Not because cities lost all their value, but because younger generations are redefining what a valuable life actually looks like.